Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies strengthening your business while offering your talents to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Hey, welcome everybody to the Giver Marketing Network Masterclass. I'm here with Joel Snyder. I want to also welcome Kingdom Warriors University. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Hey, everybody, pop some words in the comments. Share this broadcast. Get the word out for everybody who wants to listen and learn about marketing today. We're going to be talking. Have you ever been in that situation where you have some marketing channels kind of started, you have your branding going, you got everything dialed in, you're feeling good, and then you're like, I need to turn on the faucet. I need to get as many conversations, appointments, leads, just activity going in my business to kind of expand or enhance the channels I already have. We're not talking about reinventing the wheel or anything like that, but you just want to take your game to another level. Where today is for you. We're going to talk about campaign marketing. As opposed to starting a fresh marketing campaign, we're going to be talking about enhancing your marketing through these campaigns you already kind of have sort of just waiting there, ready to go. And Joel's going to walk us through how to do that, okay? We're a big fan, right, Joel, of not creating busy work for our power partners, our clients, those who want to refer us. We don't create busy work. We create meaningful work so that we can get results, right? Return on investment. And that's not just money, it's also your time. So time is a premium when you're an entrepreneur, whether you're generating, hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, or you're still trying to hit one of those numbers, your time is a premium. So we want to help you save time in generating the most impact. Joel, can you share with us a little bit about your story, and then we can jump into the goodies you have for us today?
Love to. Yeah, thanks. And thanks for inviting me again. Being a part of the Giver Marketing Network has just been so fantastic. I mean, not only connecting with talent to help me build my own business, but to support the people in the network and helping them build their business. And I just can't say enough about how meaningful and rewarding it is to be a part of this network. So thank you for this opportunity to share. So my background starts, from the corporate America side, working on behavior programs, incentive programs, safety awards, suggestions, improvement, performance improvement, things that move the needle that drop directly to the bottom line. So whether my clients were having trouble with their accident problems or they needed ways to improve their business processes, we would come in and talk about how that improvement affected the bottom line, and then took those savings or a portion of them and created campaigns that rewarded people in a positive way for good behavior. We started from all aspects, from working with the military that said, oh, well, someone gets hurt, we just throw them to the side and get another soldier, to the more holistic approach where people wanted to reward them for every little thing that they did right. So with that spectrum in mind, we really wanted to bring now best practices from the corporate world to the regional and local level so that entrepreneurs and other solo business owners can take those best practices and improve their bottom line without expending additional resources.
I love it. I view you as a friend, a mentor, and someone who kind of brings a different perspective to marketing. And so once you got some established momentum, how do we expand that, Joel? Is it can you share with us some of the visuals today and maybe showcase some of those tips that you have for us, and then we can go into and answers later on as well. But ladies and gentlemen, as you're watching today, ask questions, take notes in the comments. This helps with the algorithm. It helps you. It helps everybody watching and listening. And so we're excited to be able to share some visuals here today.
Yeah, and this is fun. And we're going to get into real practical, kind of in the weeds information. So I want you to kind of, as you're watching the presentation, put your questions in the chat. We'll come back, we'll circle around, we'll try to clarify. There's some specific industry knowledge that I want to give to you that might be new for you, or you may have some familiarity and you just want to know how to apply it in a different way. So just want to kind of give you that. So we're going to talk about campaign marketing, going beyond branding, right?
Okay.
You've done everything to get your business established. You've got your campaigns, your social media marketing, all that stuff is happening. But now how do we improve and move the needle on the bottom line with our existing channels of distribution? So maybe it's a throughput of how you're delivering your service, right? Maybe you've got an e-com product and we need to move more inventory. Maybe it's a seasonal thing and we need to improve the sales of product within a certain season.
So you're talking about something that already exists. It's either a typical like marketing strategy already got going, or it's some kind of internal contest, or it's some kind of something where it just gets some attention and some activity going through the existing established mechanisms that you already have. So a lot of people will talk about channels or avenues of distribution or these kind of things, but ultimately it's just that the mechanisms you already have in place, correct?
Yeah, and so I referred to that as extended conversion actions.
Okay, gotcha.
Throughout the channel, or direct interactions.
Okay, great.
So our 360-degree plan for success. In campaign marketing, there's some things you want to consider before you jump out of the airplane and launch a program, right?
Okay.
So the 5 W's, in my mind, who we're going to influence with the program, what it is we want them to do, what behavior is going to help move the needle, why we're doing it. There needs to be a specific purpose to it, why we don't want to incentivize something else, and who we're not going to include. And the reason being because our rules and budget considerations are all impacted with these 5 W's. And then I'm going to show you a sample presentation of a program that is currently in development, actually, and then how the tracking and follow-up works.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, write it in the comments, the number 5 W's. Write it in there so that we can think about that as we're going through today. This is good. Thanks, Joel.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a twist on that. All right, so here's the scope of a program. So in this case, what we did was we created a sweepstakes to bring people to Hilton Head Island for a vacation.
Okay,
right?
This is a real example, right?
Prize, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So for example, we've got a manufacturer with authorized dealers in a specific vertical market, and we wanted to reach targeted markets, places where they had slower sales on specific product lines.
Okay.
Now, they also offer incentive from an advertising perspective, where if the dealer would spend some money in advertising, they would share in that expense. So now we're talking about moving product in a specific market for a specific line, and we're asking our authorized dealers to spend a little money to drive more sales, right? So we're going to encourage that. But we're going to do that by recognizing them in different levels. So the dealer themselves, we have recognition for them. The dealer salespeople, the people on the floor who's influencing that decision, and the consumer who ultimately is buying the product. So we're going to involve all of those different levels. Our total audience, the scope of the total audience is well over 1,200 dealers. They had approximately 20 every month. So we needed something that we could template and we could move from market to market, and that we could add additional audiences to as the year unfolds.
So all these kind of channels have kind of been established already. We're just trying to create some excitement, some sizzle, and some activity within them already. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And so as marketers, we have clients, and our clients have products and services that they want to bring to market. And we as marketers have a responsibility to help them do that, right?
Okay, gotcha.
So we want to come up with ideas and programs that can help them grow. Rules and budget considerations. So this is an important aspect of your structure. So there's two different types of budgeting. One is open-ended. So you have lots of winners. It's performance-based. Maybe it's an incentive. It's a revenue-generating objective. And the way we budget for that is we say, okay, we know what the baseline is. If we can go 20% over that baseline, would you give me half of that to run this program? Right? So now it's performance-based, but it's also open-ended. So the budget could be $1,000, $10,000, $100,000. I mean, it could be whatever it is, but the relationship is it's a return on investment because you're only giving back half of the increase.
Got it. So it is truly performance based after a certain baseline. Gotcha.
Yeah, we set a baseline because in this case, our campaign is to drive more profits to the bottom line. So we don't want to interfere with what we're already getting. And we want to incentivize a higher level of performance and drop more profit directly to the bottom line. So if we could do that, and I get you $2, would you give me $1 to make that happen?
Got it.
How often would you do that, right?
What's close-ended?
So close-end budget is few winners, which means we have a fixed budget that we can allocate to this program.
Mm-hmm.
So we've already said, okay, we're going to take this portion of our marketing budget and we're going to use it for this campaign. So how do we get the most impact for a set amount of dollars?
Got it. So you're just really thinking, look, this is our budget. We got to get the most eyeballs, the most engagement, and down the line, we're going to see as much results as possible, short term, medium term, and long term from this particular strategy. Okay.
Yeah, so think contest or sweepstakes, right?
Yeah.
Where you have, in this case, we're going to recognize activities that lead to the improvement.
Gotcha.
So maybe it's an extra lead or an extra better paperwork turned around quicker, right? Lots of activity, lots of behavior that's going to lead to improved performance. It may not be something that you can attach a dollar value to. So we're using a closed-in budget and we're using funny money to recognize people along the way. But the award, the ultimate sweepstakes prize, is only going to go to a few people.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, here we go. The 5 W's.
Yeah.
In effect, right here.
So this is fun. So why, right? So why would we do something like this? Maybe we just need to improve our profit picture. Maybe there's inventory that's not moving off the shelf. Maybe we need to improve our process, right? Or develop a channel, right? Maybe you're launching a new product and you want to open up a different channel of distribution. So we have to identify the behavior that's going to move the needle for us. It's going to drop that bottom line profit in there, right? And where is that point of conversion controlled? So the question is, if it's a sales incentive program or if it's an operations incentive program, where is that behavior controlled? That's who we want to talk to. That's who we want to incentivize. That's who we want to be a contestant in this sweepstakes.
So we're essentially talking about an internal communications and marketing effort that kind of bubbles over into our existing channels if we want it to. Okay, I got what you're saying.
Yeah. And so when I say who not, well, ultimately, who's going to benefit from these behaviors? Generally, people that already have a bonus structure built into the performance of the company, right? So maybe a manager gets an override, or a territory rep gets an override on their volume. So there are some people who directly benefit from this improved performance.
Got it.
Those people we don't need to put into the program, right? Their selfish interest is, if this program does great, I'm going to do great too.
Yeah.
All right. So let's take a look. So we've got a 3-tier campaign, which we showed you in the beginning here. So this particular client is a manufacturer who fabricates home products. So they've got their territory rep levels, they got the independent dealers, which we talked about, and salespeople and management, and the consumer, which they're offering. And there's a statement, we call it the tail wagging the dog, right? The consumer is going to drive this and we're going to get the consumer involved by offering them discounts, package deals, and so on. So there'll be premiums for the dealers to help promote this. And also, a good dealer performance is also going to get in this contest. They're going to get merchandise that they can now use on the floor, that they can sell, and they can replenish their.
Sure. So they get a bunch of goodies. I got you.
Goodies there, yeah. The sweepstakes for the salespeople is the trip to Hilton Head Island for their vacation. So the top salespeople, and why then? Because ultimately they're the ones responsible for the conversion action.
Got it.
Right. And then, of course, the consumer-facing promotion. So just real quickly, this is what it looks like: outdoor bliss, indoor elegance. Next is the different areas that we're going to influence. So it's all the products in this living space, whether it's their mantles and fireplaces, outdoor living. So we're also using these categories as a way to pre-qualify the leads.
Got it.
So as people enter in to claim their discount, they're going to go through one of those 3 channels. Now, when the lead arrives at the dealer, the salesperson knows exactly what the interest is from that consumer.
All right. So this visual here explains to me why marketing can sometimes be a little bit complex or hard to think about. Can you help us understand this and simplify it for us?
Yeah, so this is more meant to be a visual impact that tells you why we have to go through the structure process before we jump out and launch something.
So it's not some random phrase you're saying out there to very specific, just a specific channel. It's thought out. It's got a trail. It's got a breadcrumb effect to it. It's got a real strategy built into it.
Yeah, and as professional marketers, you always want to sit with the client and think of all the details that's going to impact. Because remember, we have a couple of I have a couple of my own idioms, which is no cold traffic, dead ends.
Yep.
So if we're doing something involving consumers, we want to make sure that all of that's getting tracked. And then
write that down, ladies and gentlemen. No cold traffic, dead ends. No cold traffic, dead ends. I always think of Joel when I hear cold traffic or dead ends or anything like that. It's a great phrase.
Let's go back one more again, if you wouldn't mind. The other thing that I want to stress to our marketers is I don't give my clients a task. So when I put a campaign together, it's all developed for them so that they don't have a task. So when we come in at the dealer level, for example, in this case, we've already created email invitations. We've already created paper invitations. We've already set up registration forms. We've already set up what the sweepstakes looks like and how to enter, right? All of that. How are we going to validate people who enter the sweepstakes? How are we going to protect from abuse, right? All of those questions have to be answered. The co-op funds available for advertising. The only task I had to get from the client was to tell me what their allowances are so that I can go through and make an introduction to the dealer and say, hey, you got all this money sitting here. Jump in on this program and let's have some fun.
So you help them build the blueprint. You get it all dialed in. You kind of get the structure built. Then the house starts getting built pretty quickly. I love that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So why do it? So what's the impact? What's the ROI, right? Everybody, whenever I do these talks, right, someone's going to throw up that question in the chat. What's the ROI on all this stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, put it in the comments. It's a fair question. What's the return on investment? What's the ROI of something like this, Joel? Let's just answer the question directly.
Yeah. So there's two ways to think about ROI. One is improved performance, meaning a change in behavior, which is going to drop to your bottom line profits, which is what we've set this up as a premise, right? The other ROI is revenue, of course, right? So how much revenue are we going to derive from the time and money that we're investing? Well, I thought I'd give you some industry statistics here and some best practices so that you know it's not anecdotal. So if you look at something, Tailwind, as you know, is a social media marketing tool out there. And they do lots of surveys and industry statistics and so on. But one of the biggest things is followers, right? Everybody wants to build their followers. Well, we look at contest growth. Anytime people run a contest, they get a huge bump in interaction. And when we do things like a sweepstakes, all of a sudden now, all of their audience wants more of the dealer information. So we see instead of a 20% email open rate, now we're getting 70% email open rates, right? So things like that. So you're going to get huge bumps in your direct interaction. So here's some So here's some best practices, right? The best duration for your campaign is 90 days. And generally June and November are the best launch times. Those are seasonal, right? Influencers.
Mm-hmm.
People are always worried about how many lines of information you're asking people to fill in on a form.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different for all the different types of things, whether you're registering for a webinar or running a contest. Well, in this case, contests have an average of 10 fields in their forms, but look at the conversion rate, 34% average conversion rate on that form, right? So you get a really nice bump there in conversion. And then if you're doing it on social media, of course, autofill can double your conversion rates. And of course, the majority of social media giveaways run for less than 7 days. So in a giveaways scenario, quick and easy, get it out, get it done. In a campaign scenario, promotion, performance, recognition is a minimum of about 90 days. All right, so what do we got for you? And then we can get into some questions. Join me for a cup of Joe in the Marketing Cafe. So this is kind of fun. I've got this Marketing Cafe, and I'd love to sit and just chat with you, have a free idea session, go over a campaign if you're thinking about it. If you've already run one, it didn't work, or weren't pleased with the performance, or maybe you've had success on something and you could teach me something. I'm happy to share this time with you. And if you book on my calendar before the end of the day tomorrow, you get a free Starbucks gift card for showing up, as long as you've scheduled before the end of August. One gift card per person, please. However, if you want to bring your team, yes, everyone can have one.
Love it. So let's book some time with Joel to get a second pair of eyes on some of the ideas and concepts we have going, so that we can fast track that and not beat our head against the wall trying to figure these things out. Let's go with the pro who knows what he's doing. Freeideasession.com, ladies and gentlemen. For those who are watching live and also the recording, grab that cup of Joe with Joel Snyder, my friends. Trust me, I've done it a few times, and he's a hoot. He's fun to be with, fun to connect with, and really learn a lot every time that the one-on-one conversations happen. So that'll be good. Freeideasessions.com. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and pull down this kind of the visuals. Let's invite the others into the room so we can have some Q&A and just kind of round robin, round table type discussions, and that'll be super fun. So we got Oz rocking the house today, Christine Dean, We got folks in the comments kind of asking questions. If you're listening, ask those questions so that we can make sure and get those answered for you, whether it's live or even on the recording. Ask the questions anyway, because we can always circle back and help you with that. So that'll be super good. All right. So lady and gentlemen, first of all, Christine, what do you think? What questions do you have around,
You know,
the
I got to
campaign?
say, Joel, I love your brilliance just because you come with that corporate background experience. So you have a different perspective than somebody who's only worked in the entrepreneur space, but you're great with entrepreneurs too. So you've got both sides of the coin, right? And I think so many people, when they're approaching their campaigns, they're like, I don't even know where to start, right? All you know is you run an ad and you throw money at it. I mean, that's when you think campaigns, that's all you think of, right? And you make us stop and think about, do we have all of our systems in place to be successful? And I love the way you lay that out for us. I just want to say, first off, thank you so much for doing that, because trying to put that in a way that makes sense, you're my go-to, right? When I've got a question, I love the whole giver marketing group, right? Because we got to come in, we got to ask questions, and we each have strengths that we got to bring to the table. And Joel, this is definitely one of your strengths. And I love sending my clients to you, quite honestly.
Well, there's the coaching side of things, right, Christine, where it's like, hey, let's pull out some ideas. Let's brainstorm a little bit together. What's been working? What's not working? How many folks do you think we could get involved in this? And then there's the execution side. And it's like, oh, I didn't think about that. Oh, yeah, we got to get this going. Oh, okay. So you already have a blueprint or a kind of a structure for this. You've already have case studies and a lot of examples. Can you show me some of those? And that's where kind of that 1-2 punch. There's oftentimes a need for 2 marketing professionals in a room in order to get your full bang for your buck, and it's super fun to kind of think that way.
Yeah, it's nice to have that kind of teamwork, because you come up with we have different perspectives, right? So Joel comes up with some stuff, he'll open his mouth, I'm like, wow, that was brilliant. And and so that's the best part about having that, because you think about it, what everything you need. There's a lot of moving parts. Marketing isn't just run an ad, set it, forget it, and walk away. There are so many moving parts. And I love that Joel has his hands on it and he knows what to look at. He'll ask you questions and make you think about things you didn't even think of, right? Like, oh, yeah, good point, right? And that's one of the beauty of bringing Joel in on a project.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hey, Oz, what are your thoughts based on this conversation? I mean, any takeaways, any questions, any thoughts that would add to the conversation?
Well, I took a half a page of notes, and for anybody watching this, clearly Joel and I have the same interior designer. Okay.
Yes, for sure.
My clients, I feel, for my new business startup, are also going to be my best promoters. And I'm wondering just exactly, Christine knows, if she's wagging her head, she knows exactly what I'm talking about, what I can offer them via contests to promote my services, which they're going to love, because we're talking about business owners where we're putting in subscriptions of art to save them a fortune, and artists in a cooperative, which I'm in right here with Giver Marketing, that will all make quite a bit of money on 4 different levels. So they're opposite, but they're the same, because they're also working together to technically promote that business services and the artists. So it's a cooperative effort for everybody. And I'm trying to wrap my brain around, what can I offer both of them to be my sales force, basically?
Those are great questions. And it's not uncommon to say, how do I reward people for pushing my line or pushing a service? The real question we want to ask is, in context of today's conversation, the real question is, what behavior is going to make this happen? Is it going to be somebody reaching out? Is it going to be someone answering a question about what is a subscription? What does that mean, right? What behavior is it that we need that person to take in order for us to see improvement or growth? And if we can identify those behaviors, it's similar to who's your ideal customer, right? Same thought process. but it's more system related and more human interaction related. And then once we know what those behaviors are, then we can start to say, all right, if these behaviors are being followed, then we know that in the end, we're going to have a sale or a bump in productivity. What is that bump in productivity going to give us on the bottom line? Is it going to be a 10% more profits? Is it going to be 100% more profits, right? What is it? And then once we kind of get a thumb on that, now we can start saying, oh, well, if I give them $1 and I get $2 back, how often am I going to do that? Right, all day long. So, did I go back? Oh,
one of the things that I would add to this conversation, Joel, is there's a difference between ideation and having a quote good idea that could potentially be developed over time, and then the actual, like you were talking about, the behaviors that are already kind of happening, but you just want to increase that, put some miracle grow on it. You want to reward that or incentivize that or enhance that in some way. And some people would say, well, that's manipulation, or that's this, or that's that. No, you're just rewarding people for doing things they already want to do and getting excited about a valuable offer or a valuable aspect of your business that you want to enhance. That's you're just blessing people for doing the stuff that we all want to do. We just don't have a lot of time. And so when you incentivize it, it gamifies it, turns it into a game for everybody to get involved and support you, whether they like you because you're part of their family, or whether they love your product or service and they just want to see more people, be aware of it and really take action on it. I love that you've taken us from kind of this. We can have good ideas, but really we should probably zero in on what we already have going and enhance that first.
Right, and keep in mind that a contest or a sweepstakes or incentive program that has a time limit on it brings a sense of urgency and focus to that behavior change. So if we want to change behavior, we have to bring focus to it and we have to give it a sense of urgency. And so that positive reward is the way we do that, because now it's not a stick, it's a carrot, right?
Ah, yes, the old stick and carrot. Well,
And
hey,
I'm wondering, Joel, for those that have never done anything in the sweepstakes space, do you have any words of advice on where to get started in that? They're like, gosh, that sounds like fun, but I'm clueless, right? I've never done this before. Do you have any ideas for them?
Yeah, like I said, it just always trickles back to what's the behavior that's going to move the needle. So if you want to get started in doing something, what's that one objective that's going to add increase to your bottom line profits without expending a lot of resources? How many times we talk about our 20% of our customers or 80% of our revenue? Well, what if we could motivate 80% of our customers to do 20% more revenue? What would that do for you, right? So if we were to take a baseline, which is what they're doing now, and we set a benchmark of 20% to it, what percentage of that could we devote as a resource or a reward for improving their behavior? And
what I love about that kind of that Pareto's principle you just alluded to is that as your brand or company or organization grows, the quality of that 20% continues to develop. So if you engage with your 80%, the folks that are kind of hanging out, doing their thing, they're contributing, but it's not as high of a level. What if a good portion of those started taking their game to a high level? Now your whole organization, the whole boat is being lifted with that tide. Like the whole thing is going to a whole nother level. You're having record years with revenue. You're having record activity with your team internally, externally, your clients, customers. Everybody's starting to kind of jump into this game of business with you and having some fun. So I love the fact that you brought in the Pareto's principle on this and just being able to leverage that.
And if you think about where to start, if you have your clients or your salespeople or your team, your ABCs, right? The A is your top performers, the C's are your bottom performers. The B strata is your most potential for improvement. The C's are not going to perform, but they're there. They're going to do what they're going to do. The A's are always going to be top performers, no matter what you do, because they're self-motivated, they're driven, they have goals, and so on. The B's are people that are acceptable, right? I'm doing enough to keep my job, or I'm doing enough to make a living, but I don't really have a high level of aspiration. But I enjoy what I'm doing, and there's nothing wrong with those people. We need them, and that's really the lifeblood of our cash flow. But that B strata is the best fertile ground for a campaign. So if we can identify those and improve them, you're going to get that 20% bump.
I like it. I like
So
it. So
what
turning some of
motivates
those
that?
B's, some of
Yeah,
the
what
B's into
motivates
your
them?
former A's. I got you. I got you.
I like
Yeah,
it.
so great starting points. So you can talk about the behavior, you can talk about the audience, and now we can talk about what we can do in terms of budget.
Go ahead, Christine.
Yeah, I'm along with this. I'm going, oh yeah, right. If you've got that kind of middle ground and you're trying to just, what behaviors do you need to inspire them to take that next step that you want? And I'm just thinking about our team and as team director for Giver Marketing, right? And we've got members, right? And if you have a community, and it's just another community, we love our community, but all communities, right? We need things to get them going and get them more involved. So what does that take? What behaviors do we want to see? What behaviors do we want to look at them and say, okay, if we do this, then they get more joy out of it and they want to participate more, right? And this is going to be true for whatever type of community you're working with.
Love it. Love it. I'm thinking of there's some good resources out there, Joel. Would now be a good time to kind of mention some of those resources to kind of supplement, and as they're having, everybody's grabbing a virtual coffee with you, and freeideasession.com, like kind of get it all set up, and kind of the resources that could complement some of the things you'd be doing with them. I'm thinking of a book called The Pumpkin Plan by a guy named Mike. It's really hard to spell his last name. Just look up Pumpkin Plan, Mike, and a bunch of YouTube videos will come up. So that's a really good one when it comes to picking and choosing how you approach your kind of current customers. And it's a really good resource. And then the one that you mentioned just earlier, that tool, what was it called? Outgrow.co or something like that. Is that correct?
Outgrow is a great tool for social media contests or online contests. It's got everything from surveys to every kind of form of contest you can think about to gamify your interactions on social media.
Love it.
That's a good one to look at. They have a free trial. You can go in and check it out. And I always love to use free trials when I have a hot client, so that I can go in and test out some different tools and have a practical application for it rather than just trying to make something up.
What is the URL, Joel?
It's outgrow.co.
CO, great.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another one called gleam.io, GLEAM.io. And so as you're playing with these different tools, you'll find the different styles and flavors and just different ways, different mechanisms built into them that you can bring to Joel and say, hey, I've been checking both of these out, or we're used to this, or can we use what we have over here already? A lot of CRMs and different tools have certain variations of this kind of to get you started, right, Joel? But then at some point, it's good to plug in some of these third-party tools that'll just enhance it and just make everything flower. So that'll be good.
Just be one element. We have a Giver Marketing partner, Peter, who has a tool that will actually configure product and give you an immediate quote. Well, we adapted his technology to do lead qualification in different ways. So we're working very closely with him on building out lead configuration logic. So it could be a tool like that sits on your website, right? So what we want to do is look at the client and say, what tools do you already have in place that you're currently using? What's your CRM? What's your website look like? Do you have a lead funnel campaign mechanism of some kind, right? And then what do we need to insert and where can we place it so that we're not creating more work? Again, I don't like giving client tasks. I don't want to take people all over Ellingon to get their job done. So what can we implement? What can we use? What's already in place? So not only are we saving dollars in development, but we're putting the only what's needed to make the campaign successful.
Christine was mentioning just like certain social media influencers and micro influencers and communities earlier. And I'm just thinking that it might even be as simple as like, okay, what social platform are you getting the most eyeballs on right now? How can we just turn up the dial a little bit, incentivize them, and start super simple? And then whatever we generate from that, then we pour into a second campaign that continues to leverage that platform and maybe a few other aspects of your business you already have in place. And let's not, yeah, I love that approach, Joel. And whenever we've worked together, I know all of us here, whenever we've all worked together, it's all a matter of like, what's the best thing for the client? What is the absolute best thing for the client? It's not what we're used to. It's not what makes just one person in the relationship more money. It's what's the absolute best thing for the client that's going to help their audience, help us stay incentivized to help them. What scenario is going to really move the needle for their particular goals and ultimately their larger vision as well. So that's very cool. Hey, with that, let's land the plane here, Joel. Any last thoughts from any of us here that would help us remember what we've learned today? Any action items? Freeideasession.com. Any action items, Joel, that you want to challenge the audience, whether they book a call with you or not? Any action items you want to kind of throw out there for them?
Yeah, I think what's really compelling is to just take a look at your own operation or the operation of your best clients. And I say the best clients because they're going to be the ones that are most open to improvement in your ideas, right? So you're looking at your best clients and you're saying, okay, what actions can move the needle for this client and how can I support that for them in a way that's going to utilize the resources they already have in place, use the support system that they already have in place. Maybe they have a customer service team or a graphics department or a CAD department, right? Maybe there's something there that they use to deliver their product. And how can we improve throughput of delivery of that product?
What you're already doing, like what do you have in hand? How can we improve that? Okay. Well, there's the action item, ladies and gentlemen. Find what you already are doing that's working with either your internal team or your customers or clients or vendors or anybody where they're already in place. How can we improve that relationship and that behavior so that it incentivizes everybody to play better together?
And
What is it that you have in place? Write it down. There's 2 or 3 things you have in place. We have these customers that are really active. We have these Rockstar team members internally and some others as well that we can incentivize in certain ways and contests. Write those 2 or 3 like phrases down. Put them in the comments even as you're watching this live or the replay. And we want to hear from you what you got going on that's already kind of in place so that we can help you improve that. So, all right. Well, God bless you guys. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Same time, same channel. Don't miss it. We have guests coming through the Giver Marketing Network and the Kingdom Warriors ecosystem. And we're just here to help you and bless you and encourage you along the way to make more impact. Those causes and companies doing good in the world need more attention. So we want to help you do that. So God bless you guys. Have a great week.